This week on Kentucky Afield. Bears are in Kentucky to stay, so we're in Harlan County with biologists to learn more.
They feel pretty fat.
Yeah, they get their eyes open.
Next, one of the world's most renowned knife makers resides in Oldham County. And you might recognize this knife. And it's time for spring bass fishing.
Oh, geez. That's a good one there.
All next on Kentucky Afield.
Look how fat that fish is.
Yeah, we got one. Sweet.
Got a muskrat?
Yeah.
Good job.
What do you know about that, man? That's a good fish, man.
Nice male smallmouth. Healthy, pretty color.
Cody, here. Find us one more good pheasant, Cody.
As biologists, we catch ducks and we place bands on them.
And it's just a really excellent place to see cottonmouths.
I like it.
What do you think?
That was pretty fun.
Good evening and welcome to Kentucky Afield. I'm your host, Chad Miles. Join us as we journey the Commonwealth in search of outdoor adventure. Black bears are thriving in eastern Kentucky. One of the coolest things I've ever done was to check in on a mother and her cubs in a bear den. And bear dens may not always be what you expect. Today we've traveled to extreme southeastern Kentucky. We just pulled into a little town called Cumberland. We're going to Kingdom Come State Park. We're going to check out some bear cubs. I've never done this before. Tell me a little bit about what we're getting ready to do.
We're getting ready to go in and do what we typically do in the winter. So Tristan actually caught this bear this summer up on top of the mountain, and we're going in to see if she's had cubs and how many and what sex they are.
Okay, so you'll end up mixing up a drug concoction that'll put the bear under.
Correct.
And you can pull the cubs out and do some testing, correct?
Exactly.
What's the purpose? Tell me why we do this.
Population allows us to set quotas and hunting season length. One of the big pieces of that is cub survival.
Okay.
Over the course of the year. So this bear should have cubs when we go in. If we find 3, then we'll check on her again next summer. And if she's got 3 yearlings, then we've had 100% cub survival.
I'm excited to see these. I got a million questions. This is the first time I've ever been this close to a wild bear, so I'm pretty excited about going in and seeing how this works out. So we got a couple hundred yards down the hillside, I hear?
Yeah, it's down the mountain here a little bit.
All right, and you've already located it, correct?
Yeah, we've got a general location. We had a flight done a few weeks ago to kind of give us a general idea of where she's at.
Okay.
So we know approximately where she is, and then we'll have to go in on foot and actually find where her den is.
All right, well, you guys tell us how far back to stay, and let's get in and take a look at them.
Sounds good.
All right. How far would that thing work?
If you got line of sight, you're looking at 4 or 5 miles probably.
Okay.
You can hear most of these bears off the top of the mountain.
It's pretty amazing that it'll work that way, though.
Yeah.
So right now, they've got a signal from this bear. They think it's about 350 yards away. They're going to try to locate this bear while we're at a distance. You can see by looking at the terrain, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough terrain. And this bear is somewhere where it felt safe with its cubs to try to hide. So it's a little bit of a search and find game here.
It really wasn't a bad shot. It was some kind of malfunction with the dart. As it come out the barrel, the drug was ejecting, and it just kind of rolled off the bear, and it didn't get any drug in the female.
She went out the back.
Unfortunately, sometimes they do take off.
It does happen.
You know what? We didn't get the data we wanted from the female, but really this study is a lot about cub survival rate.
Yeah, a huge portion of it's going to be focused on the cubs.
So right here, we are literally standing on top of the bear den. The cubs are right here. It looks like there's 3 of them here. So we're gonna get them out and get them worked up and get them back in their den site. A lot of people would think this would be somewhere completely covered in a cave or something, but look what we've got here. It's right in a big tree.
Give me 1 or 2 of them.
They feel pretty fat.
Yeah, they got their eyes open.
Smell like puppies. So, is 3 pretty common?
Yeah, 3's really common out here.
One thing I didn't know coming out here to do this was how we had to beware of scent.
Yeah.
Obviously, most people are not going to be handling a bear, but so the mother doesn't necessarily get too carried away.
Exactly. You know, when we're trapping them, we leave human scent around. It's nothing like coyote trapping. And then here at the den, as soon as she comes back, she'll recognize they're hers and not worry about our scent on.
Okay. So obviously bears have a whole lot of mechanisms for protecting themselves. One of them is just hiding in a den with the mother.
Yeah.
So these bears will den with her next year.
They will, as 1-year-olds.
And then after that, they'll move off on their own.
Right.
At what point in time, if that mother decides to use a mechanism to go up a tree or whatever, can these guys join her?
Oh, absolutely, quickly. As soon as they come out of the den, they can run up a tree.
Really?
Yeah, that's their #1 defense mechanism is cubs. Mom will make a noise and they'll go to the highest branch in the tree.
How old do they have to be before they start having their own cubs?
2 to 3, depending on their nutrition.
How old do you think these are?
These are probably a little over a month.
This is really cool. So we're going to find out if we got males or females.
Yeah, we are. We're going to sex all these, and then they're all going to get a microchip, like the same thing your dog gets at the vet.
Okay.
So if we catch them again in 2 or 3 years when they're grown, we'll know who they came from. So we'll get to tagging. So #1 is going to be a female.
In a year from now, what do they weigh?
50 to 60.
Okay.
When they go in the den next year, they put on a considerable amount of weight.
This one here is like,
Female.
Not a female.
Male.
Well, it's interesting work. You're interacting with an animal that most people don't get an opportunity to interact with. And I'm excited to see what the results turn out. But thanks a lot. Keep up the good work. We hope you give us an opportunity to check back in a year or 2.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate it. It's a great time. If you'd like more information on bears, check out the winter 2016 edition of Kentucky Afield magazine. Dave Baker traces how they got here and where populations are most likely to grow in the coming years. Go to fw.ky.gov and search Kentucky Afield magazine for this article and how to subscribe. Anyone who has held a Bowie knife in their hand has probably had thoughts of the Rambo movies. Did you know that that knife was actually inspired by an artisan right here in Kentucky? Today we're in LaGrange, Kentucky with historic knife maker Gil Hibben. Gil, you've been making knives literally your entire life, right?
That's all I do.
But you're making a very high-end, custom-made, handmade knife. You've made these knives for a lot of movies, TV stars. Who else? I mean, the list goes on and on, right?
Oh, we've done stuff for Rambo, we did Star Trek. Expendables, we did several of those, and it's been a fun thing for me to go through and be able to make this stuff.
So, and I know you've got presidents that have had your knives. I saw Elvis Presley wanted one of your knives. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a time to meet. I got to meet him, man. It was fun.
What type of knife was he after?
He liked a karate one.
A karate knife.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was into karate with him.
So you know the Rambo blade, or kind of a variation of the Bowie knife, is kind of what we're going through today, what you call the Alamo blade. So let's start walking me through the process on how you would build something like this, because this got to be tons and tons of hours of work to hand make one of these.
It takes some time, all right. What we've done here, we have the steel, and now we've started we're going to saw this out, and I started out so you can see how we're going to do this, and then we're going to grind all this. And it's not like, you have to do this a hard way.
Wesley Hibben, how you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You're pretty lucky. Your tree's got a lot of talent.
Yes, he does.
You get to send out here to your dad, and you guys work and design knives together and build knives together. It's pretty special, isn't it?
It's wonderful. He's had an amazing career with what he's done with knives.
You know, and it's amazing because he still does it the old style. He hand does every last piece of it. What do you think drives him to want to do this every day?
It's his passion.
It is.
It is passion. He's loved knives his whole life. I mean, I have a knife that he made and gave to my grandfather back when he was in high school, probably. So it's been his passion. You should see him when he gets one done and finished, and he's like looking at it. He's thrilled.
Do you ever see him get one done and he says, "I'm not selling this. I'm not sending it off. I'm keeping it"?
Oh yeah.
I bet he's got a wonderful collection.
He has well, I wish my mom has a wonderful collection.
So walk me again through the process of taking literally some raw materials and turning it into a collectible piece of art.
We cut the steel out. Once we're done, then we have to go to the grinder. We grind and we remove all the bulk before heat treat. So we're removing everything so we get close, but not all the way there. Then we heat treat it at 1850 degrees for half an hour. That's 440C. Depending on what steel can change what temperature you have to heat treat at. After heat treat, we have to draw temper it because now it's too hard. It's in a brittle stage. It's so hard. So we draw it back to put some softness back into it so it's not brittle anymore. After heat treat, then we go back to the grinders. We start with 60 grit, and then we get our shape down. And then we go to 220, down to 400, and then almost like a 600 grit finish before we go to the buffers. The more we can do on the grinding wheels, it makes it easier on the buffing wheels. So we get it down to as light as finish as we can on the grinders before we go to the buffers. And we start with a coarse buffing wheel, and we buff on that, and then to the final finish.
All the way down to a polish that you put on the wheel and polish it out.
Yeah, now you got a blade polish. Now you have to make a guard, fit the guard, get it on there, get your handle, get it fit. And then once you get all your pieces made and fit, then you can glue it all together. And then after that, then you go back to the grinder. Then you're shaping your handle down.
So you grind the handle part after it's already assembled and everything?
Most of the time, yeah.
So this is after the assembly?
Yeah, all put together.
And you've put your name and all that in here, LaGrange, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to go to somebody's house as a showpiece or a collector.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful blade. Well, I really want to thank you for walking us through your shop and the process today.
Appreciate that.
I hope you're making them for another 80 years.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Now let's check in and see who's catching what and where in this week's fishing report.
This is Jeff Crosby with the Central District Fishing Report. Water temperatures at area lakes are in the mid to upper 50s. There are good reports of crappie being caught at area lakes such as Taylorsville and Gist Creek Lakes. Crappie are being caught around brush and treetops on live minnows or crappie jigs fished in about 2 to 12 feet of water. Largemouth bass fishing is picking up at area lakes. Lakes to fish for largemouth this time of year would be Taylorsville, Harrington, Gist Creek, or Kincaid Lakes. These bass can be caught on a variety of lures, spinner baits or crankbaits fished on points associated with good spawning coves. This is also a great time of year to fish the upper portions of Harrington and Taylorsville Lakes for good catches of white bass. Finally, don't forget about your local fins, lakes. So grab a pole and enjoy some great spring fishing. Hope to see you on the water.
Hi, this is Kevin Fry with your Eastern Area Fisheries Report. Trout stocking at tailwaters and some streams starts up this month. East area stockings looking to be for April 6th through April 11th. You can check the exact date at the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife webpage. Some reports at present of white bass and catches at some tailwaters and up into Johns Creek upstream of Dewey Lake, and also up into La Visa Fork upstream of Fish Trap Lake. Also, tailwater below Fish Trap Lake Dam producing some white bass on white or smoke color plastic grubs. Crappie success in lakes is being reported good, with males getting darker in color for spawning. Good numbers of larger fish and catches at Fish Trap Lake. Also at times some nice larger fish coming from Yatesville and Dewey Lakes.
Hi, this is Eric Cummins with your Southwest Kentucky Fishing Report. Barren River Lake is approaching summer pool and is less than 10 feet from that. Crappie are up shallow in the brush and laydowns, mainly black crappie at this point, in about 5 to 7 foot of water. Whites are still out on the main lake, drops and structure in about 10 to 15 foot of water. Catfish action is also picking up with cutbait, worms, and liver. At Green River Lake, the lake is at summer pool. Bass are still on the main lake points and channel drops with lipless crankbaits, crawdad and shad crankbaits, and spinner baits. Crappie are still mainly on the channel drops and out on the laydowns and brush there. As always, good luck and good fishing. Be sure your life jacket's got your back.
Dale Hollow Lake is one of the most beautiful places in the world to spend a spring day. Let's take a ride with guide Bobby Gentry in search of bass. We're here today with Bobby Gentry, Bobby Gentry Guide Service here on Dale Hollow. We're going to try to catch a couple smallmouth today. You know, it's been a little bit up and down, and that's kind of common for this transition from, deep winter to the spring pattern. But I think we're going to get some fish, and I'm excited to be out here fishing with you today.
The spring's always a yo-yo, That's where I get most of the calls there. But I said, well, what do? I said, they was on yesterday, they're off today. It looks like they've had a little time to settle. We got this front coming through, so hopefully, today we'll get on some decent bites. Hopefully we will. It was a pretty morning.
Dale Hollow is legendary for smallmouth bass. Obviously, the world record came not far from where we're sitting right here.
That's why I always fish here. There's always hope.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. My motto is, as long as you've got hope when you're a fisherman, you'll always prevail.
Talk about what you're allowed to keep and the length limits and the slot limit that they have in place here.
The slot length is 1 under 16 inches and 1 over 21. You're allowed five fish with any combination.
Not to exceed 2 smallmouth. One have to be under 16.
Under 16. 1 over 21.
1 over 21.
There's one.
It hadn't jumped yet, but here it comes.
Little fella.
This fish here would probably be just a hair long. It's probably going to be a shade long than the slot, so this is probably going to fall.
I'd say he's about 17 inches or so. He's above that.
So it must be immediately released.
It's hard to believe that I've been at Dale Hollow as many years as I have, and I started out as a kid. My dad brought me. I was 8 years old when I first remember.
1990, right?
Yes. And 1990. But I think Dale Hollow right now is probably one of the healthiest, getting back into some 21s, 21 inchers, where we was down a little bit a few years back, and the largemouth population's exploded. And we'll take a greenfish.
We'll take a greenfish.
You know, as much as I guide, I really don't know what makes the coloration. I mean, I've been told many different things, but that's a unique.
That is. I mean, that one's almost its entire tail is marked up in this black, and then you got these patches all over it.
But they're healthy. They're healthy fish. This little deal we're doing here is just what I call a little do-nothing worm. It's just a real small worm on a little stand-up head. And the thing about this plastic, look at the give it's got. And it comes right back to its form, and we're using just a small, tiny little head. The thing about smallmouth, people go real big with their baits. If you'll go a small profile, they're really what a smallmouth likes.
Turned dead sideways, isn't he? Another little small one here. Hit it there. Largemouth.
Nice fish.
Saw us a little shady spot up there. Got a little bit of sun today. We figured these fish are suspended. Maybe we could get one come up and take that jerk bait. And got us about a 2-pound largemouth here. You know, a jerkbait is a longer version of what is like a crankbait. It has a lip on it, but when you jerk it and it gets down different depths, this one here goes about 6 feet. When you let it pause, it will stay there at that water column. It won't float up, it won't go any deeper, it'll just stay there. So you'll tighten it up and you'll snap it a couple times at about 6 feet, and it'll just pause there. And this is the perfect approach when you're fishing for suspended fish where the fish are setting 8-10 feet deep. We got one.
You probably swing him.
Yeah, we'll put him in.
That's actually a keeper, probably.
Yeah, we finally got a keeper, under 16.
Yeah. There's your keeper. I grew up as only child. I grew up in a household where I played in the yard. I done my things. I done what I done as a kid. I got tired playing by myself. So now that I've got an opportunity to go fishing, when everybody comes to me, they're looking to have a good time. Now you can go to a job that you've maybe done for 20 years, and it gets to be such a routine where people come to work and they're a little disgruntled or unhappy with the way things is going. They're looking to have a good time when they come to me. It's a lift. It gives you a good feeling to see somebody coming enjoying themselves. That's why I like guide business. See people have fun, have a good time. Oh, geez.
That's a good one there.
Whatever you.
You may get a backside jumper here.
I might. Yeah, I am. No, that's a big largie. Not huge, but he's
good fish though.
He caught me off guard there.
4-pounder, maybe bigger.
Pretty fish. He's good marked up also.
Marked up, it sure is.
All right.
Look how fat that fish is. I mean, it's not missed any meals, has it?
Now, it looks like it's the one that caught it. That's what my wife says anyway. We've caught fish 12 feet. We've caught fish 8 feet. That fish came 25 feet.
Yeah. That's when it makes it hard to pattern them, when they're that scattered.
And to help people that come here, the only thing I can tell them, make a decision. Don't second guess your decision and stick with your pattern, because it's just tough, this time of year especially.
I know you're a very positive person. You're a lot of fun to be in the boat with. You got some great stories. I really enjoyed the day. I've had a lot of fun with you. And I tell you, I hope you keep doing this for another 18 years.
I've had a good time since I'm an old man in the boat today. Yeah, you guys, I've enjoyed it very much.
I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you having us out.
Thank you.
Now let's check out this week's ones that didn't get away. Now here's a really nice buck taken by Molly Goodrich from Oldham County. Her very first deer ever. This is the way you start. Congratulations. Hey, check out this turkey taken by Dalton Butler in Breckenridge County, taken with a bow and arrow. Nice job. Here's Wesley Denny with his first deer ever, a button buck taken in Wayne County. Nice job. Now here's a great deer taken by Nate Segrist, his very first bow kill ever, taken in Taylor County. Congratulations. Here's a nice Woodford County buck taken by Jacob Hoop. his first deer ever, and he was taken with a .270 rifle. Congratulations. Here we have Anita Manley of Peaks Mill, Kentucky. This was her very first time hunting. Congratulations. Hey, I'm out here turkey scouting, and I hope you're finding time to do the same. The season opens next Saturday, April 15th. And remember, hunting and fishing on private property is a privilege. Always ask permission and thank the landowner. Until next week, I'm your host, Chad Miles, and I hope to see you in the woods or on the water.